FBX is now a fully audited benchmark, and which is used actually, there are actual derivatives. You can actually buy and sell futures of the FBX both on the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and on SGX, the Singapore Exchange. These are the two biggest derivative markets in the world, trade futures in the FBX. So that creates a lot of trust, and there's a lot of audit behind that. Now, coming back to your first question, we just launched yesterday the Freightos Terminal. So we've taken the trust in the FAX and the FBX, added some other data about real transit time, industry events, pulled it all together in a terminal which can sit on the desk of logistics professionals, and they get a full picture of everything. So we're very fortunate that we have a lot of trust and a lot of attention for these indexes, and Freightos Terminal should really even accelerate the usage and the trust in the indexes that we have.
Hi everybody, this is Libin, Chacko, Kurian from Stat Media Group. We are here in Munich, Germany for Air Cargo Europe and Transport Logistic Trade Fair. With us right now is Zvi Schreiber. He is the founder and CEO of the international freight booking and payments platform Freightos. Thank you so much, Zvi, for joining us today.
Great being here, thanks.
Zvi, this week you launched Freightos Terminal. Can you tell us a bit about that platform and put that into context for our audience in terms of the larger evolution of Freightos?
Sure. I mean, Freightos is a booking platform for international freight. You can think of us, we're trying to give an experience like Booking.com or Expedia for booking freight. We're trying to make it easy and smooth to find the best rate, to understand transit times, and to optimize international shipping. And we've long had, as part of what we do, we've provided data for a long time. We have the Freightos Baltic Index, which gives the daily pricing of the market price each day for container shipping. We have the Freightos Air Index, which tracks the daily rate of air cargo on different routes. But now we're bringing it all together. And you asked for context, so why are we bringing it all together? I think, during COVID, our customers discovered how important data is, because there were more disruptions than ever before. But even now that COVID is mostly over, importers and exporters, supply chain companies understand that there's disruptions. There are strikes. There is increasingly problems with the weather. There's a major war, unfortunately, in Eastern Europe. So there's always things going on. And so companies, importers and exporters now really understand the need for data. Prices are changing constantly, availability and transit time are changing constantly. So what we've done with Freightos Terminal, we've brought the whole thing together, the air data, the ocean data, transit time, industry events, all in one beautiful screen where supply chain companies can get a full picture of what's going on in the industry.
Can you also talk about your clients, the airlines, for example, some of their pain points, okay, which you solved in the past and what you are trying to solve right now?
So first of all, to explain, our clients include carriers, airlines, ocean liners, freight forwarders. We work with many thousands of freight forwarders, and of course the shippers, importers and exporters, both small and big PCOs. So all of those are important clients. The forwarders and carriers mostly know us not as Freightos, but as Web Cargo. You see today I'm at this show where we're mostly exhibiting as Web Cargo. So that's the professional platform, which is used by carriers to connect to freight forwarders. So that's just a bit of context. When you asked about the airlines, up to now, the main thing we've done with airlines is a booking platform, connecting them to thousands of freight forwarders, so that they can receive bookings in an automated way. And that has been a fantastic success story in the last 5 years. Now, 5 years ago, we had 0 airlines which had any kind of API, any kind of electronic connection for bookings, 0. And then in 2018, we connected with Lufthansa, 2019, a couple more, and it really started to curve up. So we've gone from like 0 electronic bookings with 0 airlines in the beginning of 2018. This year, we'll do about 1 million bookings, fully electronic, with 3,500 freight forwarders across more than 10,000 offices and about 40 airlines. So we've been through an exciting journey with the airlines and with the freight forwarders these last 5 years. And that still continues. I'm going to talk in a second about the new ideas that we have. But the digital connection still continues, because although now we have about half the airlines in the world by volume doing electronic booking, that's still only half. And even those half still do a lot of offline bookings. So we've still got a long way to go to get all the airlines and all the freight forwarders booking electronically. So that's got momentum, but it's not finished. But I think you asked also what's now new for the airlines. And a big drive at the moment is using our data to help them do dynamic pricing. We discovered that even the airlines who connect with us electronically, in real time, every time a freight forwarder searches, we're connecting to the airline, we're saying, what's your rate? In real time. We send those searches 35,000 times a day in real time. But most of the airlines are sending us back a static rate. So we ask them thousands of times a day, and every time we get the same rate. We ask them the next day, we get the same rate. So they've gone halfway. They've got the digital connection, but the rate is still coming from an Excel sheet where some human being typed it in. Now in passenger, it's not like that, right? In passenger already for 20 years, maybe more, we've seen the airlines update their rates automatically based on the market demands on any flight and any day. So I think a major initiative now for the airlines is that we can use our data to help them to price fully dynamically and adjust every day to the situation of their flights and how full it is, and to the situation in the market on a daily basis or even an hourly basis.
To make possible this kind of dynamic pricing offering for your clients, you will need a very robust tech infrastructure. Can you give us an idea about what is happening in Freightos and WebCargo in terms of your team, for example, what they are building in terms of AI, for example? Okay, how you make it possible from a data or a tech point of view?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, Freightos and WebCargo already for years have a very robust booking platform and payment platform. So it's a transactional platform. People can offer their capacity at a rate. People can buy the capacity, they can book, they can pay. That's working well, many thousands of times a day. Now, your question anticipated, it's a insightful question, because AI is definitely the new trend, and it depends on data. So now that we've reached scale, like I said, a rate of 1 million bookings now per year, order of magnitude. So at that scale, we have really good data. And now we're training AIs to use that data to optimize pricing. So we can actually tell an airline, for example, but also a forwarder. But an airline, you asked about airlines, that's a good example. WebCargo can tell an airline, if you charge $3 per kilo, you'll get 600 bookings a week, or 100 tons a week, or whatever it is. If you charge $2.50, you'll get we can actually predict with good accuracy how much volume the airline will get on any given lane, on any given day or week, at each price level. And then they can optimize. They can say, our strategy is to be aggressive, we want to have a low price, get big volume, or our strategy is to protect our yields. We don't mind losing a bit of volume. We want to get a high yield, high price per kilo. We have the data, and now we have the trained AIs to really help them optimize their price.
The booking platforms of Freightos is an important player, not only because you offer digital offerings, but also because you are dealing with the relationship between key stakeholders, airlines, the freight forwarders, for example. One important thing that I could see is the contracts between these airlines or freight forwarders, how your offerings can impact. You have the long-term contracts that freight forwarders always look for. You have the spot on the other side. How your offerings can make an impact there?
We're a marketplace, so we're primarily a spot booking platform, primarily. And in air, the majority, more than half of the business is spot. In ocean, maybe slightly less than half is spot. But spots, in both cases, spot is about half the market. So first and foremost, we're a spot booking platform, and that's a big part of the market. But of course, you're right, there are very important long-term contracts. The airlines tend to call them block space agreements. Ocean, they call it a tender or an RFQ. So there, what we have, those are not automated. That's still a negotiation between human beings. But where we help is providing the data. So when an airline sits with a freight forwarder or an ocean liner sits with a BCO, we provide the data of what is the rate in the market, how is it trending, and then they can use that as a start for the human negotiation. In addition, and this is just starting to happen, both in air and in ocean, they're starting to experiment with index-linked contracts. So instead of trying to fix a price for a year, or even for a quarter, which is very difficult. And we've seen many times the carrier and the forwarder or the shipper, they sit down, they negotiate a fixed price, and 3 months later, that price is ridiculous. Much too high or much too low, and then one side or the other tries to get out of the contract. That happens the whole time. The fixed contracts are never really fixed. And so an important trend, both in air and in ocean, is saying, okay, you know what? We're not going to fix the price for a year. We're going to commit to a volume and get a discount, but the discount will be relative to the market price. And the market price is floating based on the Freightos Baltic Index, the FBX for ocean, or the FAX for air, And they can actually link that contract and save all of the complex negotiation, trying to fix a price, then renegotiate it when the market changes. They just link it to the index. Now, in other industries, that's very common. That's how oil is purchased. Even the airlines, they know when they buy oil or gasoline, it's always linked to the index. And now they can do the same when they sell their cargo products.
To make that happen, I believe there is a lot of trust that has to come to your index, right, from the freight forwarder and the airline. Do you see that coming in, and what makes them come on board?
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think, fortunately, there is a lot of trust. The FBX is now a fully audited benchmark, and which is used, actually, there are actual derivatives. You can actually buy and sell futures of the FBX both on the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and on SGX, the Singapore Exchange. These are the two biggest derivative markets in the world, trade futures in the FBX. So that creates a lot of trust, and there's a lot of audit behind that. Now, coming back to your first question, we just launched yesterday the Freightos Terminal. So we've taken the trust in the FAX and the FBX, added some other data about real transit time industry events, pulled it all together in a terminal which can sit on the desk of logistics professionals, and they get a full picture of everything. So we're very fortunate that we have a lot of trust and a lot of attention for these indexes, and Freightos Terminal should really even accelerate the usage and the trust in the indexes that we have.
What I can expect from you in next 2 years? I mean, what are you building?
A lot. How long have you got? So we mentioned dynamic pricing and data. On the air bookings, we're going in all kinds of interesting directions. Including working on interlining, allowing the airlines to book from each other, and several other areas, but more expanding our payments platform a lot, so people can not just book, but pay now, pay with credits. These are some of the big areas. Of course, there are some areas I don't wish to talk to the press about yet. We have to keep some positive surprises for our customers, but yeah, busy times.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, Libin.